Okay, we are back with a familiar face. Zack from Nomadic Arts is back with us, very kindly going to show us how he kind of goes through his method of making a quiver. So he's partway through a Turkish quiver, I believe. So we're just going to give over to Zack, and he will guide us through his process and talk about what he does and the details, etc. So Zack, over to you.
Okay, so I got here, it's partially finished Ottoman or Ottoman Turkish, whatever, Middle Eastern. So what I wanted, okay, and
yeah,
okay, so what I noticed is a lot of people when they start making quivers, this one is half finished. You can see the fancy stitching. Actually, it's Italian goat leather. It's a really nice leather. What happens is they stitch it back, and when you put broadheads, such as this one, they would eventually cut through the stitching. So what I did is I do the cutout on the bottom and cover it with the front pocket, and then insert the wood wedge, which is much sturdier to do so, because here you can see the arrowhead will eventually punch through, and I don't see any traces on antique quivers where they got, usually it would leave sort of a witness where the arrows used to sit. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take this one apart, and then I'll show you what I mean by that. So
okay, sounds good. Excellent.
Shouldn't take that long. It is just a mock-up. And actually, last night I was writing poetry, and one of the guys asked me from the channel, when are you gonna do that Turkish quiver? And so I promised him for today. So I better stay my word.
Good timing then.
Okay, so actually I should do this before, but it doesn't take that long. So now that we got nice cutout, put everything back. It doesn't have to be perfect. It is just show and tell. I hope you can see what I'm doing.
Yeah, just
It's,
so right now you're just using little pins to keep it in place, yeah?
Yes, so I can explain how does it look inside once everything is assembled, because that's a very important part of quiver if you wish to build one yourself. And I'll do the cutout on the back so we can see what is happening inside when I put the arrow in the front pocket. Okay, I should do bigger cutout. So you see, when I put the arrowhead inside, it actually touches the wood, not the stitching.
Right, I understand. Yes, I see. Yeah, so it saves from being damaged. Yeah.
Yes, it's a very very important, because most of them that I know of, they have wood bottom, and so many people, they make them out of leather, which is fine, but if but this cutout is very important, not the ugly way I did it, because it's just for show and tell. So if you have multiple arrows, as you can see here, they're all touching the wood,
Excellent.
and they won't
Right.
break through.
They each have their own compartment.
Yes, and I was asked about the rigging, about the 3-point suspension. I always do 3-point suspension, and it's Peter Decker showed it last. It's kind of hard, but you see, there's a first part. This part is very important to be as close to quiver as possible, and the third one, I always go for triangle. That makes it much more stable. So even with the short quiver, such as this one, and the arrows, they're 42 inches. I'm gonna put it on, and it will stay nice and balanced.
Yeah, it should
I'll try
still
not to knock anything over.
It should still sit on your hip without moving around too much.
Yes, and you can see just how big those arrows are.
Yeah, very big. Yeah, excellent. Yeah, and it's not really not in your way or anything.
If I ride it all day.
Excellent.
Yes, and they're still very easy to pull out. Another thing I promised you last time was the back pockets. Here I have, it's just a mock-up for now. It's easy to take it apart, but these are the very common whistling arrows.
Right. Yeah, with a judo point or something on.
Yes, it's karimata.
Yeah.
But like you can see, still not finished. But the back pockets are attached, and this is the reason for these big pockets.
I see.
So let's hope it's not gonna fall apart, because I didn't glue it or anything. Oh yeah. So that.
Now, at the base of that pocket, is there any padding or wood to protect it from the sharp edge or not?
No, the way it's stitched, you can see that leather is pointed inward, so it will make a sack on the bottom. No matter how big they are and sharp they will still struggle to punch through. The big ones that usually go in there would be these ones, and they're also meant for these big pockets. And perhaps yes.
I see.
Still does.
Yeah, it still goes in.
The structure of the pockets is very unique. Yes, I spent lots of time studying Peter Decker's pictures on his website. He's very irreplaceable with that.
Yeah.
Also, like he was pointing the 3-point suspension. It's a really nice quiver. I can't wait to finish this one.
It's a beautiful quiver. Very nice.
Yes, also very unique way of stitching. I don't know how clear it is, so I'll try my best. Idea is not to see the stitching. So one day when I start another one, I should take some pictures and show how it's done. That shows us nicely if certain quivers are made in southern or northern today's China. Because on southern part, that would be mostly nomadic people. They would use this type of stitching. There's one that is even more complicated with the 3 layers. So it's a lot of work, but it's very, very get commission for that as well.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
absolutely. But I think what you're emphasizing, what's coming through, is attention to detail. It's very easy to make something that from afar looks authentic, etc. But when you look closely, you know, where the rivets go, you know, the triangular place of the rivets on the inside, so it hangs properly, the stitching, all these small details means it's made to a higher quality standard.
Yes, also very important part is the position of loops on the belt. Peter Decker has primary sources. I saw some here in Toronto, but they wouldn't let me touch it. The spread of suspension points, it is very, very crucial. Actually, I should point it. So there's a gap from front part to middle part, and the one towards the back is slightly bigger. I don't know exactly dimensions because I have my templates and I usually go with them. The bigger the quiver, the wider the spread it should be. That's also very, very important.
Yeah.
So whoever is making quiver, it's just with a 2-point, it's not that great. Even with a 3-point, it should be spaced properly.
And a quiver size is not related to the height or the dimensions of an archer. I mean, someone who's short could have a large quiver, and someone who is tall who could have a small quiver, right?
No, not necessarily. There's many, many different types of quivers, and also depends on archer's preference. And some people, including me, I prefer small quivers. I think they're harder to make and they're nicer. I like them. Some people like quivers from a certain region, certain period, things like that. Sadly, nobody uses closed top, those big tubular quivers. But for thousands of years, they were quite commonly used.
Interesting.
But it's for some reason, I don't know why, nobody uses them.
Yeah. And what about the, I think we talked about the different leathers. Just talk again about which leathers are easier to handle and which ones are harder to work with.
Well, the thinner the leather, for example, here, this one is maybe 2 millimeters, but the shape of the quiver will hold everything together, just a structure. So you see, I got a paper here, and it's still fairly solid, even though I cut it. The thicker the leather, the harder it is to work. Like both of these. Okay, girls. You can see here how thick the leather is compared to my finger. But this quiver will last you, I'm making them 10 years. People still using them without problems.
Definitely.
They got scratches and everyday stuff, but
yeah, yeah.
nothing major.
What do you have? Show us what tool you use for the stitching, because presumably you have to pierce through the leather and weave it by hand, right? You don't have a machine.
No, I hardly got enough place for my hand.
Yeah.
But, yes, these are basically, they look like pliers. This one has one prong that punches one hole at a time. This one is a bit faster, makes 3 holes. There's also at the back, you can see the stopper, and that that gives us pretty even spacing. So the trick after piercing holes and all of that is to line everything up. So basically, this would be my starting point, because it's a pointy, so it's easier to catch up. And I would basically just push a little bit of a thread, make one knot, make one here, 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 and do a couple of spots here. Then stitch everything together, and then usually I go on this side from the bottom up and join everything. It's fairly simple, but it's time consuming. Also, you have to get focused.
Are there different methods of stitching? Is it just, I mean, I don't know anything about stitching. I mean, you have to know obviously certain techniques and certain types of stitching which are more stronger and more durable than others, right?
The most durable is what we call this saddle stitch, where you use 2 needles, you push them through, spread the thread, push, and spread. So we got, even if one thread was fairly even. On the bottom, there's also tubing. Since this part is very tricky to stitch, I don't use saddle stitch. I just go 1 needle in and out, and then I come back, because here I have to mold the leather into certain shape. And to achieve that, I wet the leather. I make it wet. So when it dries, I still mold it with the fingers. I have simple tools like this. So it's used to press the leather into certain shape. Sorry.
Very good. What about the actual stitching, the stitch itself, the thread? Is it just normal nylon, or what is it?
I use, I have the natural, and this one is black. It's fairly thick, but it's from a leather supply shop. It's thicker than machine thread, and I'm pretty sure it's a nylon or polyester or whatever it is, but it's also waxed, so it slides easier through leather. It doesn't damage it.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's just lots of work.
Yeah, I'm sure. Tell us the difference with a arrow quiver and a bow quiver. When you're making a bow quiver, do you have to take into consideration the shape of the bow as well?
Yes. There's people who use like a for Manchu bow. I have standard template, and it's shaped for antique bows. So I took the measurements from Peter Decker's site. and basically any modern bow will fit into it as well. For other quivers, I would sometimes people ask me to do it a certain bow to fit perfectly because they like it. It's a expensive bow. They're attached. Then I make according to they trace the bow and send me the paper template how it looks, and then I go from there. For Ottoman bows, they're pretty much standardized nowadays. So I have two templates. One that is for museum, another one is that I made up. So it's much smaller that fits fiberglass bows or any bows like that. For Scythian bows, I wait for the bowyer to finish the bow, send me outline, because Scythian bows are really, really unique. And the quiver is it's very unique to in construction and everything else.
Mm. Yeah, so it's very important to
Also
take
the metal parts.
Yes. Sorry. So,
metal parts
Mm.
for quivers and the bow cases, they're different. Also, everything for the belt has to be certain way. And
Sure. I'm sure that your skill, I think we might have spoken about this on our last one, but your skills making quivers would also transfer over to maybe saddle making and things like that. Did you ever try making saddles or anything? I can't remember if I did ask you or what we said.
I have a friend from England, and we were talking about the leather, and I show him what I do for stitching. And he said, if you come to England, everybody would laugh at you because nobody does it like that. So if I make something, it would be very, very hard to sell because people has a mindset. This is how it should look, and this is how it should be done. I'll show you.
Did he mean that they would laugh at you because it's you know, you do it with too much detail, or it's just not done the way that they are familiar with?
They're not familiar with techniques that I'm using, and basically nowadays everybody, thanks to the internet, everybody know how it should look, you know, and nobody is brave enough to do something different. Yeah, I try to do. This is basically my interpretation of Tibetan pouch. It's a very unique way of closing. There are no. It's beautiful.
Stunning. Very nice.
But
very nice.
If I would sell it, it would cost about, and nobody is willing to spend that much money. So that is one of the reasons. And also the research and materials and promotion. There's so much into it.
Sure, totally. I can understand. Well, again, like last time, we appreciate all of your attention to detail and the effort you're putting into making sure that these quivers are of a high standard. And I hope that people that watch this will, you know, we'll direct them to your Instagram and your website, and they will take an interest and hopefully, you know, place some orders and keep this high level of craftsmanship alive.
Well, people are copying me anyway, so at least I can tell them right way to do it. So
well, anyone watching this, look, Zack is he's an honest craftsman. We know him, and since we've got in touch with him, he's only been cooperative and helpful and supportive. And you know, not many other people will open their workshop to the whole world and show their techniques and things. And I think this attitude is beneficial for everyone. But at the end of the day, we have to recognize that these craftsmen have to earn a living, and we need to support them, because one day will come and we will ask, where is this knowledge gone? And it's because we didn't support these people. So we'll definitely put your details below, Zack. And if you're working on a different type of quiver very soon, let us know, and we can hopefully come and sit and spy on you again, if that's okay.
No problem. As soon
Awesome.
as I got some time, because my girl's gonna come from the swimming pool now. It's not gonna be quiet for long.
Okay. In that case, that's our cue to leave. Thank you very much, Zack. And I'll speak
Thank
to you
you
again soon. All
for
right.
making time. I'll
No
see you
problem.
next time.
All right. Take care.
You too.